All right, good morning, Shabbat Shalom. First, want to thank Reuben Shimonov, our scholar in residence, for a truly extraordinary presentation last night of learning and passion. And I'll tell you, the word that kept coming up for me last night was optimism. You know, of how much we've gone through and how much we've been able to still be here. And welcome to your mom, Mila Shimonova, just for bringing the family here and raising such a beautiful boy. Is just, I was going to say Asher Koch, but maybe Chazaku Baruch would be the more appropriate for. And Reuben will be speaking again after Kiddush today, and it's really been a very powerful thing to have you here. So just very grateful, and for everyone who made this possible. So I don't tell jokes. And I don't tell jokes from the Bima in general. I happen just to point out things in life that are funny. But I rarely tell jokes for a variety of reasons. But I'm going to tell you a joke that I used to like. So it's a story about the mayor of Tel Aviv and his wife, and they're going for a walk. And there's a guy up on a telephone pole. He's fixing the wires, and he yells out, "Hey, Eddie, how you doing?" And the mayor of Tel Aviv says to his wife, "Eddie, who's that?" And she says, "It's an old boyfriend." So he says to her, "If you had married him, you'd be married to a phone worker." And she said, "No, if I had married him, he would have been the mayor of Tel Aviv." So it's a pretty good joke by joke standards. But when I say I used to like it, the joke somehow should have ended up with her being the mayor of Tel Aviv, not making the guy she was married to into the mayor of Tel Aviv. And I was thinking about this in relation to our Torah portion today and in part of the liturgy. As many of you know, about, I think, 2 years now, we started adding the Imahot into our prayers, into the Amidah. The Imahot meaning Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. The Amidah for many, many years, actually for a couple millennia, was just Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we decided in the last couple years that to add the Imahot as well, the foremothers. And I think that was a great decision. My only regret is that we didn't do it even earlier. But I think it's been very important. But I was thinking that if we hadn't made the switch, I would have switched it to Abraham, Rebecca, and Jacob. Avraham, Rivka, and Yaakov. Now, Isaac was a nice guy. And just about everyone you've ever heard that he was just a nice guy didn't do much. Right? He didn't do any real harm, but he didn't do a lot. What Isaac did beautifully was sit. Very few people are praised for their sitting, unless you're like a meditation master or something. Right? His dad took him up to be sacrificed, which is going to leave at least a psychic mark. And most of what he spent the rest of his life doing, that he was a Yoshevo Halot. He sat around in the tent. It was really Rebecca, who's the one who made sure that the Jewish people survived. Right? She is the motivating force in the story. And so where we meet her is that Abraham had just tried to sacrifice Isaac, And if you'll remember, Abraham was all in on the sacrifice. And Isaac knew Dad was all in on the sacrifice because he's got a knife over him about to sacrifice him. And then God says, okay, you can stop now. You know what would have been better? Not doing it at all. And by the way, Isaac is never the same. So he doesn't find a wife. We don't know how Abraham and Sarah met. When we meet Abraham and Sarah, they're already married, and they've been married for a long time. But Abraham knows that Isaac is not going to leave the tent to go meet someone. And there were no apps. Right? There was no way of, no, Dad, I met someone. Is she real? Well, we'll find out. But she says she loves catfish. We're not really sure. That was actually very funny, and you can look up later. You'll just have to trust me on it. But there's no way Isaac is going to meet anyone. So Abraham sends his servant Eliezer to go find someone for his son. And he doesn't want one of the Canaanites. He wants to go back to the old country to meet someone. So he sends Eliezer, his servant. And Eliezer says that whoever comes out and offers me water, but also offers water to the camels that I am bringing, that's going to be the right person. How many of you have ever tried to water a camel? What are camels known for? They can drink a lot. They can carry, I believe, about 50 gallons of water in their humps. So if you think about how hard it is and how much time and effort to water a camel, just one, you have to put the bucket in the well, and it would have been dozens and dozens of this. And one of the people who comes out is Rivka, and she says to Eliezer, who is a stranger, she doesn't know that this is like a relative's servant. She just knows that this is a stranger with camels, and she says, Hati na chadech ve'eshteh ve'amra shtei ve'gam gamalacha eshka ota ha'chachta lavdacha v'liyitzchak uva eda ki asita chesed im Adonai. That I will give you water and for your camels. Again, this is a complete stranger, and that's how Eliezer knows that this is the right person, because she must have been not only kind, but really strong. And I think that this is powerful. Eliezer knows that he is not bringing back someone who is going to be delicate, someone who is not going to be able to face what life brings, but someone who is an extraordinary combination of genuine strength, morally and physically, but someone who also is very kind, someone who is filled with chesed. And there is a very much still beloved scholar named Rabbeinu Bachya, who lived from the middle of the 13th century to early 14th century, still very much studied, very much beloved. He was a Sephardic scholar from Spain. That happens to be a coincidence, but I planned it that way, of course, that we have today. But what he said is that Rivka is the very first person in the Torah where God's full 72-letter name is used. And there's sort of, he's a Kabbalist, and he goes through a very long process, and I'm more than happy to send you the full notes for how he gets there. But what he says is that Rivka's act of kindness with the camels and the water brings God's 72-letter name to earth for the first time. Rebekah's, not Isaac. And that one of the next times that name is used is at the splitting of the sea, when Moses parts the sea so the people can be saved. It connects Rivkah giving the water to the camels with her descendants later being able to go through the water to freedom. And I thought that was an extraordinary connection, because the strength and kindness that she had lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years and gave strength to her descendants and gave strength to us. And that's why I think that she's the one really worthy of being mentioned with, Abraham, Rivkah, and Yaakov. I'm glad we mentioned everyone, but her in particular, I think, really is the reason we were here, because she made very tough decisions. She made sure that Jacob got the birthright. That's a tough call. When you have to pick between your kids, and you know one of your kid is the right one to be the leader and the other one isn't, it's a tough call. And it didn't help their relationship any. But she did it because she knew it was the right thing. So she's a combination of chesed, of kindness, and gevura, which is strength. And Kabbalistically, on the tree of life, that intersection is tiferet. That is splendor. That is sunlight. That is bringing warmth and power into the world. She's who we named our daughter Rivkah after. You may know her as Ricky, but Ricky's really her nickname. We named her Rivkah after the biblical Rivkah, because we wanted her to have this combination of strength and kindness. And Kanainohora Pu Pu Pu, it worked out. I'm sorry, I'm still Ashkenazic to the core. So Kanainohora Pu Pu Pu, it can't hurt. You can take the family out of Ukraine, but you can't take Ukraine out of the family. So when I think of Rivkah, she's the one who brought God down to earth really for the first time. And if we find a way to live a life of kindness and combined with strength, we can continue to bring God down to earth as well. Shabbat Shalom.